Shall I start?
No, because you... Hello, crew. Welcome back to your 7 Minutes of Piracy. Hey, welcome back this week. Margaret and I are going to teach you all about the parts of the ship this week with visual aids as promised. Since we don't own a ship, we don't own a yacht, we have the next best thing, which is...
Da, 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 da.
Lego pirate ship.
Lego pirate ship.
Alrighty.
All right, so we're going to go through the parts of the ship first.
Margaret, why don't you start?
Well, thank you. I'm going to. And I'm going to go fun facts along the way just because that's the way I learn. So the front of the ship is called the bow. The back of the ship is called the stern. I'm going to turn this. The right side of the ship is starboard, and the left is port. And how you remember which is left and right, port is a 4-letter word, and left is a 4-letter word. And that's how you remember port to starboard. Left is fore.
Fun fact.
Fun fact for you. Bet you didn't know that, did you?
I did do that. I did note that. Note that.
You did know that? Okay. So then the front of the ship, the bow, is also where the forecastle is. And usually the forecastle is a upper deck, a little higher than the main deck, which is down here. And then you've got your poop deck in the back. And that's usually where the captain's quarters, the galley, everything is in the poop deck. Now, here's your fun fact. You actually do not poop on the poop deck.
It's frowned upon in this establishment.
Very frowned upon. So actually, this was interesting when I read this. They actually went poop on the forecastle. And in the forecastle up at the front, they had 2 holes in the floor of the ship. And they would literally squat over these holes and poop, and it would just drop into the ocean. So that is actually where they went poop on the ship. I swear, this is true. But in
No pooping on the poop deck.
And no pooping on the poop deck. But no, in inclement weather, they would use buckets down below because when the sea spray and the water was coming up over the forecastle, you didn't want to go up there, and you certainly didn't want to drop your drawers to poop because that would have been a little chilly.
Yeah, it was literally the very first bidet.
Yeah, get you clean. But anyway, so that was my little fun trivia about pooping on a pirate ship. Little bonus fact there.
Thanks, Margaret.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right. I'm going to talk about the sails on the mast really quick to help you remember which is which. In the front of the ship, or the fore of the ship, is called the foremast. In the middle of the ship is your main mast, and in the back of the ship is a mizzen mast. So you have foremast, main mast, mizzen mast. Now sails, I've got this particular ship rigged like the ship that's in my book, the Tawny Main. It's a 3-masted ship. All ships have the same basic kind of sails. We're going to talk about those. The biggest sail on the bottom is called the course sail. So you can see this ship has 3 course sails. We've got the forecourse, the main course, and the mizzen course.
And what about the dessert?
Right, thank you.
Sorry.
Above the course, you have the main sail. So you have a foremain, the main, and then the mizzen main. On top of that, you would have the gallant sail. So you've got a main gallant and a mizzen gallant. On this ship, that's all I have. But ships can actually have up to 6 sails stacked on top of each other. So you would have the course sail, the main sail, the gallant. On top of that is a royal. On top of that is a sky sail. And on top of that is a moon sail. It all depended on how much wind the ship was trying to catch, how strong the masts were, and how fast she was trying to go. So you could get a lot of sail. The sails in the front of the ship are called Lateen sails. If you have 1 Lateen sail in front of your ship, it's a Lateen sail in front of your ship is actually called a jib. Now, if you have 2 Lateen sails in front, you have the outer jib and the inner jib. And if your ship has 3 Lateen sails in the front, you have the inner jib, the outer jib, and the flying jib all the way on the front. Oop, there it is. Any questions? There'll be a test later.
Which are the sails that they would just keep down in the storms?
Excellent. We were talking about storms last week.
I know.
So when they ran into a storm, the most valuable sails and the sails that were the most difficult to replace are the core sails, the bottom level, and the mainsails, the next one up. So as soon as they encountered inclement weather or storm come up, they woke up in the middle of the night, the ship is pitching, they immediately roll up or they strike or they furl. Thank you. They furl the core sail and the mainsail, and they would just leave either the royal sail or even the moon sails, just enough to push the boat, guide the boat, and steer them around. But you want to protect your big sails. That's how you're going to move. That's how you do. That's how you're going to get most of your speed. But you don't want to risk leaving those sails up in heavy winds. Puts a lot of stress on the sail, a lot of stress on the mast, and stress on the ship. Any questions?
I'm good.
All right. Let's talk about your pirate fact of the week. I don't have one yet, so.
Okay, we got to get that.
Okay, for your pirate fact of the week, we're going to talk about Edward Teach, also known as Blackbeard, one of the most famous pirates in movies and literature. Edward Teach was a pirate out of Jamaica in the early 1700s. Very successful.
A badass. He had one of the largest ships out there, named the Queen Anne's Revenge. It was feared he was kind of sneaky. He would run the flags of his opponents, and so they would see him and go, oh, well, there, he's a friend. And then as soon as they would get up next to him, he'd throw up his colors and attack. So he's kind of a sneaky, dirty guy, but you know, he's a pirate, so what are you gonna do? He was also very intimidating. He would weave hemp into his beard and he'd light it on fire. And when he would jump across to the other ships, he'd be just smoldering black, and he wore all black. And so he'd just be this smoldering black, scary looking dude, and people were like, I give up. I'm done.
He made his home in Outer Banks, North Carolina. He lived in a town there. The town overlooked his piracy because he did so much for the town. He brought in a lot of goods. He did wonders for the economy, and they loved him for it. So you've got a fierce pirate out on the sea, but in town, he's a good, honest family man. Anyway.
Family man? He had 14 wives.
He had 14
wives. How
wives.
was that a family man? Sorry.
There's not a lot of information about what happened to the first 13 wives, but he apparently he went through them like hats. So anyway, as Margaret said earlier, he captured a lot of ships by playing possum, and as it turned out, Edward Teach was killed by a ship playing possum. They snuck up on another ship. None of the crew would come up above. He thought they were all hiding or sick below. They boarded the other ship, and the crew was waiting for him, playing possum, and they jumped up and shot him. And so Edward Teach, into the ocean he went.
Well, you know.
Yeah. He lived by the sword.
Died by the sword.
Died by the musket.
What?
Anyway, hey, thanks for joining us this week. Make sure you click subscribe. We love our subscribers. We appreciate your time.
Yes, we do.
And until we see each other again, fair winds, my friends.